Next, we're going to look at the power of array formulas. So we need to go over to the worksheet array formulas. Again, you can hit Control page down to get there. Let's zoom in here. So we have some student names, what they scored on their first exam, what they scored on their second exam. So what we ideally would like to do is figure out who had the best, what the best progress was, and what was the worst progress, right? So best progress is the highest difference between exam 2 and exam 1, assuming, right, the positive difference. Worst progress would be the smallest difference. So it doesn't look like we have any negative numbers here, right? Wouldn't get any negative numbers, so we should be fine looking at that. So one way you can attack this is to create a separate column called progress, right? And we just said it was exam 2 minus exam 1. So that guy improved by 38 points. Then we see this, right? And then we want to know the best, so we could do max over these guys. And we see the best progress was 39, right? The worst, we could do min over all of these, 15, right? So that's probably the way that you might think of doing it to start out with. I'm going to show you a way to do it in one step using array formulas, and I think is much faster. So to find the best progress, I'm going to take equal, I want max, and then I'm going to take exam 2, I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to subtract out exam 1, which is in B3 through B18. Now, here I have more than one, right? It's referencing a whole array of cells. So if I hit enter, it'll say not a value. I can't figure out what you're trying to do. All right, so maybe we need to do something else. We like the idea of having exam 2 and exam 1 subtracted, right? But in order to make Excel understand that you have two arrays that you're operating on, not just two values, what we need to do instead of hitting enter is hold down the control key, hold down the shift key, and then hit enter. So control shift enter puts in an array formula. Now, you'll notice up in the formula bar what happens. Up here we have curly brackets, curly braces around the formula. When you see that, that means that it is an array formula. So if I went back in here, right, and just tried to do that again, it won't work, right? I have to again hit Control Shift Enter to make it an array formula. So if you see formulas that have the curly braces around it, it's a Control Shift Enter, and it's an array formula. So now the worst progress, do the same thing, only now it's min exam 2 minus exam 1, shift close parenthesis, and then control shift enter, 15. So we got the exact same answers that we got down here, only now we did it in a single formula that happens to be an array formula. Now other things we might be interested in looking at for this particular little set of data is the highest score. Yeah, you could sort it, right, and see what it is. So what's the highest score on the second exam? Looking at it, you could eyeball this and see that it's 87, right? What about the second highest? Well, I'd have to sort it. If I don't want to sort it, there's another function I can use instead. It's large, the array, I'll put in exam 2, and then k is which number do you want? So to get the highest score, I just put a 1 in, get an 87. Now if I want the second highest, I can do large, enter in the array of data, and then 2, 76, right? So if I don't want to sort, I can do stuff like that. Now, what if instead I wanted to find the average of the top 4 scores? Well, I could use large to find the 4, top 4, right? I have to do that individually, and then I could take the average over them, right? So I could do that. I could do set third highest, fourth highest, and take the average over that. So just for giggles, let's do that. I'm going to just insert, I want the shift cells down, a couple of these. If you hit Control Y, it does it again, right? So I want third highest, fourth highest, and so this is large. Exam 2. It'd been nice if I'd named that. It'd make my life a little easier, but you know, I didn't. And then large for the fourth. And then if I want to, I don't want sum, right? What I do want though is I can do this and do a contextual menu. I can do totals, and I want average. So 79. Let me, I was going to say, I don't think it's exactly 79. So 78.5. Right. So what if I wanted to do it all in one thing without having to do it? Well, what I can do is I can do average, right? And then put large, so I'm nesting large inside of the average function. Large of these guys. And I want all 4. To do that, I need to send it an array. So an array is within curly braces 1, 2, 3, 4. In the curly brace, end the parenthesis for large, in the parenthesis for average. Now, for this one, I do not need to hit Control Shift Enter because average already works on an array of cells, right? We just saw that it worked on 4 cells above. So average can handle an array of cells. Where I need to send the array is to the large. So now if I just hit enter, I get 79, and so let's increase that. We get the same answer, 78.5, right? So smallest, there's also a way to find the smallest. What do you think it is? Small, right? The array, and then the very smallest is 1. So 42 is the smallest. How do you think I get the average of the lowest 4 scores? Well, we can do pretty much what we did before. We take the average, nest inside of it, the small function, give it the array from C3 through C18, comma, and then an array of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, separated by commas inside a curly brace. Close the parenthesis for small, close it for average, hit enter, and we see that it's 50. Yeah, it looks like exactly 50. Right. So there's a brief introduction to some array formulas and some interesting things you can do with array formulas.